So, as I'm on a reconnaissance mission for God, then today, at this hour, God has directed me here. So I come into this graveyard and make a film for you guys, but for God to see it with my consciousness, which then will be filtered back to it, the Akashic Records, where all is known. And so, let's just have a little look around, shall we? Interesting, huh? In certain countries, well actually, it seems like here. Look, there's actually 4 in there. Oh, you can see that. 2 caskets. Oh no, there's 6. There's 5. 2 on the left and 3 on the right. And so people come to visit the dead. Same in there. Look, coffins. And so, what? Oh look, sad children's ones there. You can see all in there. And so you have your lock. Your key, sorry, and you come and you open up this little tomb and you go in and you sit by the coffins. How is it that they're in there? Have they been froze dried? What's the process? Some of you Portuguese will know. Maybe you'd like to tell me. Are they really in there? In other Portuguese colonies I've been to, say like in the likes of Cape Verde and places like that, then there were actually in these marble caskets. I don't know what sort of period it takes for the bodies to decay and to stop smelling, but it's curious. And I've always found coming to cemeteries interesting. There's a certain peace. You'll have to excuse the pun, but it is true, people. And I particularly like British cemeteries because they're all given to lush green grass, and their tombs are nothing like as grand and as elaborate as these. You know, obviously we get buried in the ground and then it's just grass over and we have a modest tombstone, but they do it a little bit different here. But you can see for sure there is still a great concern that the Portuguese people have for their dead, because every single one of them almost has got flowers on, and albeit these flowers are artificial, some are not. There's a level of care, isn't there? Oh wow, I didn't realise the expanse of it up here. You see, what drew my attention was this crazy tree here. I saw the top of it from over the wall and I started to head towards it, that, in particularly on DMT or shrooms, will blow you away. Seriously. It wouldn't be evil or scary, it would just be alive. And of course it's alive now, but it will be showing you in some sort of another way, because all the limbs and things like that, well, that would be a creature up there, and it'd have a face and it'd be looking down at you, and there'd be so many other faces in it, and they'd just be looking. And the thing is about these things, when you see them on DMT, it's not like they're like this, or they're like this, or anything like this. What they are, they're just like this. Just that. You would have seen these sort of depictions in art form somewhere. There's no expression. It's just very matter of fact. There's no indication of any thoughts whatsoever. They're just saying that they're a being. And they leave the interpretation to the experiencer. And so as we're noticing things, people, let's have a little look at this tree, shall we? And see how beautiful it's twisted. Beautiful. Bom dia.
Yeah.
Maintenance guy. So it really is quite expensive. Look at all those. Look at the care. All adorned with beautiful bright flowers. Marble. There's always wood pigeons in graveyards, always. I guess it's something to do with wood pigeons like these sort of trees. And there's always these sort of trees in graveyards for some reason. And so there you have it. So, what's your preference? Do you follow the cultural norm? Do you want a modest grave with a modest stone? Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be devoured by creatures in a jungle? Do you want to be lost at sea? Do you want to be buried in an avalanche whilst climbing a mountain? I think I'd prefer something like this, because then people could remember me as a part of that mountain, because I would always be a part of that mountain. And if I died at sea, I'd always be a part of that sea, wouldn't I? Because some essence of me would be there, rather than a grave which slowly over time is frequented less, thought of less, and with 100 years passed, then there isn't a single person on the planet that will remember you. Gone forever. So normally I would have a meditation, but I don't feel like a meditation here because it's too superficial for me, really. It's too over the top. It's like nobody's really died. It's like they're having a party for everybody. Curious. So for those of you that are Portuguese, you wouldn't find this interesting remotely. And for some of you who are Spanish and Southern European, then it wouldn't be that interesting, but it will get more interesting the further flung you are, the more diverse your culture. When I was in the Gambia, I went to visit a Muslim cemetery, and it was just a cordoned off area about as big as this. It was just pure sand, and there were no tombstones, there were no epitaphs, nothing. And apparently, so my guide was telling me, if you remember, the Ras, the guy that he was a taxi driver, and I hired him for the duration, and he was a Muslim of a sort, you know. And so he said that all that happens is they put the person in the grave, the body in the grave, and after so many years, then it doesn't matter about the bones anymore. They would just dig those bones up and put another one in and pile them back in indiscriminately, because apparently the Muslims don't really feel, you know, any connection to the skeleton or, you know, anything like that. The soul's gone, hasn't it? And so it's just a case of putting the body back from whence it came, and there's no emotional connection to it. So there's nothing inscribed, there's no remembrance, and so you wouldn't even know what part of the graveyard they were buried in. And then, of course, in places in India, I think it's the Hindus, they burn the bodies, don't they? Because they have certain belief systems about that. And so I'd probably opt for that one, just to be put on a pile of sticks and be burnt out in the open with family members and friends, smelling the barbecue, drinking a couple of beers. Anyway.